Hi everyone, my name's Tristan and I'm a teacher at Sunshine School. I've been living in Vietnam for 10 years and I really love teaching English. Over this series of videos, I'll be teaching you how to succeed at writing for both tests and assignments. I hope you enjoy them. For this series, we're particularly going to focus on writing for Ielts, but we will be looking at writing in general. Today, I'm going to give an overview of the Ielts writing test and introduce some essentials of essay writing. You might ask, why am I focusing on Ielts? Well, there are some very good reasons. Firstly, it's one of the world's most popular English exams with a very good reputation throughout the world. It will allow you to study or work in English-speaking countries and is accepted by more than 9,000 institutions. It will clearly show you your level of English. Working towards taking an exam will give you clear goals and deadlines, requiring effective study which will help push you towards success rather than studying randomly and having no real idea of what you want to achieve. All of the skills that you learn for writing in Ielts can be used generally to write good essays outside of the exam, for example, if you have an assignment at school. The Ielts marking system helps us to understand what makes a good piece of writing with clear marking criteria. Finally, practicing writing in exam conditions with a time limit will improve your discipline, focus, and fluency. Before we look at how to write, let's have a look at the exam itself. There are two types of Ielts exam, academic and general. The general exam is for moving to an English-speaking country, but if you want to study at university or work for a professional institution, you need to take the academic exam. We will be looking at the academic exam as this is what most students want to take and it gives you far greater options for your future. So, here is an overview of the writing test. It has two parts, which are called Task 1 and Task 2. The test is 1 hour in total. In Task 1, you have to describe some visual information. You have to write 150 words or more, and it is recommended that you spend about 20 minutes to complete it. It counts for 1/3 of the total mark. In Task 2, you have to write about a contemporary issue with supporting reasons and examples. You have to write 250 words or more, and it is recommended that you spend about 40 minutes to complete it. This counts for 2/3 of the total mark. Now, let's look in more detail at each task. Firstly, for Task 1, we need to know the different types of visual information that may be used. It could be a diagram, a table, a map, a line graph, a bar chart, a flow chart, or a pie chart. You have to describe the most important information displayed by this. Let's look at an example question. This chart gives information about how commuters travelled to work in one city in England. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Here is a model answer. We won't look at this in a lot of detail now, and I will tell you more about Task 1 answers in future videos. But you should pause now and quickly read this to give you an idea of what is expected. Okay, now let's go on to Task 2. There are several different types of task. For example, you might have to give a solution to a problem, give an opinion with reasons, compare and contrast evidence and opinions. Remember, you don't need any special knowledge about the topic. You are marked on your ability with English, not your opinions or if you are factually correct. So don't worry if you don't know much about a particular topic. Some typical topics that you might have to write about include technology, culture, education, family, health, friendship, transportation, the environment, travel, crime, work, or entertainment. Let's look at an example. Success in life is more a matter of luck than of ability. To what extent do you agree or disagree? And here is a model answer. Again, we won't look at this in a lot of detail now, and I will tell you about this more later. But you should still pause the video and quickly read this to give you an idea of what is expected. Okay, so now we know what you have to do, but how is the exam marked? Each task is given a score from 0 to 9, which are called bands. We should focus on bands 4 and above, as this is most likely your level now. Bands 4 to 6 are what are expected of an intermediate user, someone who is quite good at English and can handle most general situations well, but is probably not quite ready for university level work. Bands 7 to 9 are expected of an advanced user, someone who is ready to study at university and can discuss complex topics accurately at length. Don't worry if in your general English you are an advanced user, but at first in the Ielts exam you get a lower mark. The Ielts exam is quite tricky, and it is probably because you need to practice more and improve your exam technique rather than your ability. For example, even a native English speaker such as myself can find it difficult having to write an essay in exam conditions. There are 4 areas your English is marked on to decide your score, which we call criteria. First, there is Task 1 achievement and Task 2 response. This is basically checking you followed the instructions and completed the task satisfactorily. Next is Coherence and Cohesion. This is about whether your essay is written in a way which is easy to understand and that is organized and logical. Third is Lexical Resource, which is another way to say how well did you show your knowledge of vocabulary and was your spelling correct. And finally, we have Grammar Range and Accuracy, which is to check that you used a good range of grammatical tenses and structures accurately. You will get a score out of 9 for each of these. Your final writing score is the average of these 4. For example, if for 2 criteria you scored 7 and another 2 you scored 6, you would get an overall score of 6.5. Now, let's look at the criteria in more detail and what is expected of you. For the Task 1 achievement, we need to know, did you complete the task? Did you include all necessary information? Did you write 150 words or more? For the Task 2 response, did you respond to every point in the task? Did you give examples and reasons? Did you stay relevant? Did you write 250 words or more? For Coherence and Cohesion, we want to know, is your answer organized clearly and logically? Do your ideas flow? Did you use paragraphs effectively? Did you use appropriate linking words and phrases? For Lexical Resource, did you use a wide range of vocabulary? Did you use the vocabulary correctly? Did you use formal words? Is your spelling correct? And did you use the correct form of words? For Grammar Range and Accuracy, we want to know, did you use a range of grammatical structures and tenses? Did you use both simple and complex structures? And is your grammar generally accurate? You should think about all of these questions to help you write a good essay, not just for the Ielts exam. We will look at how to check your writing carefully with these questions in a later video. If you want to read more about the Ielts marking criteria, you will find a link to a detailed description in the information below the video. Now we know the basics about the Ielts exam, let's look at writing essays in general. There are three areas that we need to think about. The first is the content, which is what you write. The second is the style, how you write it. And the third is the structure, how you organize your ideas. Now, of course, there are many things that make a good essay, and we will study many different important areas in future videos. But today, I just want to show you the absolute most important things that will help you to write a good essay. You need to use a formal style of writing. You need to use paragraphs to organize your ideas, with at least one paragraph for an introduction and one paragraph for a conclusion. Every main idea should have its own paragraph. That means when you start talking about a new idea, start a new paragraph. Finally, your ideas should flow logically from the introduction to the conclusion in an order which is easy to understand. Please note, the one exception to this is task 1, which is a bit different because it's a lot shorter than most essays and only requires about 2 paragraphs. So, let's look at the model example for task 2 from earlier. You should pause the video and read it again. To see what I mean by style, here is the first paragraph again, and next to it we can see the same information but in an informal style which would be inappropriate and would not score as well. You can see that the descriptions for a formal style are more accurate and use more complex vocabulary. For example, a significant portion instead of some. The descriptions are also more impersonal and abstract and about ideas. For example, success in life is the result of good luck instead of you need to be lucky to be successful. Also, it is less direct. I would make the case that sounds much better than I don't think that's right, which is too simple and too direct. Again, there are lots of other things we can do for a formal style, but this is enough for now to give you the basic idea. You can also see the essay is well structured into paragraphs and flows logically from the introduction to the conclusion. You can also see that paragraphs 2, 3 and 4 use clear phrases at the start to indicate the start of a new idea or the conclusion.
Okay everyone, that's the end of the lesson. I hope you find this video instructive and that it helps you with all your work, and I look forward to teaching you in future videos. Goodbye and have a nice week.